News are coming in hot about the canon situation of Star Trek Discovery, and we already have some juicy updates for you. Let's dive in. To summarize for those who came in late, as we relayed in our previous Star Trek video, the ultimate source for all of this is the final episode of the animated Star Trek Lower Decks, which explicitly, albeit visually, made it clear that Star Trek Discovery now takes place in an alternate timeline, and not the prime timeline, like Lower Decks itself. An obvious retcon if there ever was one, but one that no doubt will be appreciated by a fanbase scorned and scattered. Since hardly anyone is watching Lower Decks, Giant Freaking Robot, an outlet whose past publication record suggests a direct line to the people running Star Trek, put out the seed article everyone learned this from, and when many started concluding that the Discovery spin-off Strange New Worlds also had to have been stricken from canon as well, Giant Freaking Robot put out an update clarifying that no, Strange New Worlds remains canon, because the Enterprise, Pike, and the rest of the crew seen in Discovery were different from the Enterprise, Pike, and the rest of the crew seen in Strange New World. The former were native to the Discovery universe, while the latter belong in the Prime universe. That, of course, is another obvious retcon, and you're just gonna have to ignore the references to Discovery in both Strange New Worlds and in Picard. But hey, at least it shows an intention to get rid of Discovery, if nothing else. All of this was in our previous video, of course, but while that was being minted, we got an update from our sources, which we already relayed to the viewers of our live streams. But it's worthy of its own video update as well, especially since our good friend John Del Aros over at Fandom Pulse on Substack has heard and reported a variation of this story from his sources, which are not the same as our sources, thus lending credibility to the report. Of course, you should still treat this as rumor and take it with a grain of salt. But what we are hearing from our sources, which is consistent with Fandom Pulse's reporting, is that while Skydance have already exerted some low level of influence behind the scenes, there's nothing they can do until the acquisition is fully approved by all regulatory bodies and goes all the way through. Only then are they formally in charge, but we have heard rumors that select creative partners have gotten early word to stay put, because once Skydance is in charge, the services of these partners will be required and they will be called upon. In our last video, we also reported that trying to force Skydance's hand, Alex Kurtzman has already greenlit a second season of Starfleet Academy, the direct follow-up to Star Trek Discovery. But since that video, we've also heard that both seasons are reportedly being shot back to back, again in an alleged effort to force Skydance's hand into not scrapping the series, and with it Kurtzman's Star Trek legacy. Skydance are reportedly unlikely to fall for this though, as what we have heard is that as soon as Skydance is in charge, everything Kurtzman is reportedly, and I quote, going out the airlock. As for Kurtzman himself, and by extension Secret Hideout, the intention is reportedly to buy him out and pay him some go-away money to shut him up. Though I stress again that this is rumor, and for all we know, no such conversation has ever been had with Kurtzman, as again, Skydance hasn't even formally taken over yet. Though I'm sure that if there is such an intention, Kurtzman will hear of it sooner rather than later. Won't he be terribly upset though? Will there be some good meltdowns like we've heard about before? Don't know. Everyone is away for the holidays, so we haven't heard of any emotional reactions just yet. Still, if these reports are to be believed, both from our sources as well as those of Fandom Pulse, independently of each other, there appears to be an intention to remove much of what Kurtzman has done and try to fix the franchise. Still no word on exactly how they will do that though. Fingers crossed that they will hire an outside expert as brand manager, because I don't trust anyone in either Paramount or Skydance to understand Star Trek well enough to be able to fix it. And that is assuming it can be fixed at all, because is the damage not too great already? Let me know what you think in the comments.